In our efforts to transcend stress and become more resilient, it's all too often that we can start something, put in 100% effort, and then 3 weeks later we've given it up. It's a normal part of the human existence and part of our culture at this moment to commit to habit change in this way. But it doesn't necessarily work with how we naturally build habits. So in this video, let's talk about how we can start and stick to an exercise plan. So if you've tried to change a habit and you've seen it fail, or you've been scared to start a habit because it may just be too demanding and you can't justify the amount of time and energy for that new habit, then this video is for you. Most of the problems when people try to create habit change programs like an exercise program or a cardio program or something like that, especially if we are starting from zero, is that the programs and our expectations may be too strict, too overwhelming, not a personality match, or not a preferences match. So if the program says that you have to work out 3 days a week and you're not allowed to deviate from that, well, what happens if you miss a day? Would you still continue with the other 2 days? So a lot of people don't, and then they begin to judge themselves as well, which is even more of a problem. And I'm going to make a video on emotional judgment. So if you want to see that video, which is coming soon, be sure to subscribe down below. The second point is the one that the routine brings with it, not just new movements, but a whole host of other things that people have to learn. So if you have never worked out before and you get a list that says exercise A1, A2, exercise B1, B2, with tempo charts, and then the names of exercises that you've never heard of before, there's a lot of learning, a steep learning curve that has to happen in the beginning. And this is usually enough for a person to immediately feel overwhelmed and ditch it. The third one is if the personality doesn't match the program. So you can feel that you're working out, but it's not for you. Somehow you're doing this thing and you don't have the internal motivation and there's no connection. So, what are your desires and your needs really? And that's where we hit the preferences part too. So if your preferences are to work out in a gym and not at your home, there may be a mismatched preference there if you've got a home exercise solution. Finding solutions to these are more likely to mean that you will stick to an exercise program rather than forcing yourself into a program with preferences that you don't actually hold. Tip number one is to zoom out. There's an interesting idea about discipline that says that discipline is a standard you hold yourself to consistently. So if you want to make exercise a part of your life, then start small with a standard that you can achieve regularly, consistently. You can show yourself you can achieve this, and you can hold yourself to that standard regularly. So the idea of zooming out is to combat the problem that we focus on with the details. And so we focus on a program, we go very hard for a short period of time and stretch ourselves too thin, inevitably burn out. We might also complicate the situation, and then the rest of our life naturally starts to come in the back of our minds. We make excuses, we push out the new habit that we're trying to create. So by starting small and manageable, we create a standard for ourselves. I like to say, as the habit automates, the standard elevates. So basically, if you started just doing one simple little thing, your brain will quickly automate that thing, chunk it together, associate it, etc. And it'll start to require zero brain power from you. And so then you can rest on it in times of stress or improve on it in times where you have extra energy. So the point about zooming out is about saying, what do I want in 10 years' time? How do I start building that now? Tip number two, make sure your program can adjust for your time and energy budgets. We don't always have optimal time and optimal energy to do everything. But if we create a table where we can say we have a lot of time, a lot of energy, what would we do? And if we have little time but lots of energy, what can we do? And we have little energy but lots of time, what can we do? And what if we have little energy and little time? What can we do? This simple formula allows us to adjust accordingly to the stresses of life. And it's inspired by the Eisenhower matrix, if you're familiar with that. So the problem that this formula helps to overcome is the idea that if it's not perfectly done, I'm not going to do it. So if I've missed one workout, I'll just miss the rest again and start again on Monday. Basically, we want your practice to have the ability to breathe. Tip number three comes from Stanford professor B.J. Fogg in his book, Tiny Habits. If you've ever read this, it's fantastic. His formula for behavior modification is B equals MAP. The B, of course, is talking about behavior change. The M is motivation. The A is ability, and the P is prompts. He talks about motivation being low or high to do something. He talks about ability being, it's hard to do this thing or easy to do this thing. And then he talks about prompts as a way to remind us to take the action. So it's a very good book, highly recommend it. My personal take on this is to consider ability rather as resistance. What is getting in the way of you doing the action? If you need a drive to the gym, there's a lot of time and effort between you and the action of exercise. So in this case, the action being the exercise. So think about what is between you and exercise. How can you remove time, obstacles, and excuses? The motivation parts we will talk about in the next tip, but the other thing really that's helpful from tiny habits is the prompts. The idea with the prompts is to take action within 30 seconds of a prompt, a post-it note or an alarm clock or something like this. So I recommend people to try anytime they want to start a new habit, even if it's not exercise, a visual reminder somewhere around them in the areas that they want to do the habits. Eye level is good. So every time you see the reminder, you do the habit for 30 seconds. In this way, you don't need a fantastic workout plan, but maybe 30 seconds of push-ups to show yourself that you can change, to keep to a standard and not have to stick to an incredibly hard workout program when you may not have the passion for it. Not yet. It will develop. So tip number 4, whatever you do, it doesn't matter as long as you connect your passion to it.
Aye, go. Aye, more passion, more passion, more passion, more energy.
There is a world of exercise out there that you can choose from. Bodybuilding, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, calisthenics, endurance training, yoga, Pilates, hybrid training, CrossFit, high rocks training. You get the picture, right? Training can take many forms, but perhaps it's helpful for you to separate training, an exercise program, from an activity. If you enjoy playing tennis, you go to the gym to train your body so that you can play tennis easier, better, healthier. Tennis is a reward that you give yourself, or something like that. Games and sports can be great motivation for you to improve your physical preparedness. Personally, for me, I make sure that I hit these 4 movements at a minimum: push, pull, hinge, squat. Add in some cardio and some flexibility training, and that's pretty much all I do. And when I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a few years ago, I was stronger and my cardio was better than most of the guys in my class. It's the same when I go for hikes or if I jump on a kayak on a lake or something like that, I'm more capable. What I'm passionate about personally is bodyweight training, mastering my own body. But I have nothing against picking up heavy things. I enjoy strongman training sometimes and barbell training sometimes. It all depends on what you like. So I've got nothing against other modalities, but when I've spent my time working out in those ways, I didn't really enjoy it. I felt like I was ticking a box and doing it for the trainer, not for myself. Remember this, do it for yourself. Do it for things that you are interested in, curious about, passionate about. So if you've been enjoying the video so far, clicking the like button down below would be curious. The final 2 points for anyone looking to get a little bit more of an idea on how to start. Okay, well, number 1, exercise routines. Make sure that they include a push movement, a pull movement, a hinge movement, a squat movement. And you know what? In the spirit of Mitchell Hooper, World's Strongest Man, let's include a carry as well. That's a good idea. Okay, number 2, progressive overload. Start by testing your ability first. Do a few weeks where you're doing some kind of progression as well. Maybe it's just 1 rep more each week or 1 thing more each week. And after a few weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, try testing it again. And this method of testing, doing and testing can be very motivating because we can see a lot of our results very quickly. I personally applied this to my cardio over a 3-year period. I was really surprised I was able to stick to a cardio program 1 year at a time like this. My results were quite interesting. So click here to check that video out. If you've made it this far in the video, I would love to hear in the comments below, what have you struggled with in the past when trying to start and stick to an exercise program? And also, what did you find that were the solutions that worked well for you? Remember that when you put them down in the comments below, people can benefit from them. So please, I invite you to share what has worked. I'll see you in the next one.